This is Charlie at the Edith Finch house, and I'm just playing around with video editing. So I figured I'd put together evidence that we all see, but not everybody picks up on right away, myself included, about Edith being pregnant. There. Spoiler. And as soon as she goes through the doggy door, she'll make a comment about how it was easier.
Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11.
Okay, maybe that really isn't pointing to her being pregnant, but her belly is, along with what I assume is an engagement ring with maybe a feather. But of course, maybe she's just a little overweight. Not. And that does look like the jewelry we see later on in Sam's room. Keys, jewelry is basically pendants on a string. So let's see what other evidence or clues we were given as far as Edith being pregnant. Area. And we got another big clue about
Now that there's only one of us left.
Edith's condition.
Or maybe two.
Maybe two. A lot of people assume it's Milton, but we know it's Christopher. So here's another clue.
Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me.
That who's Edith writing the journal for?
But I thought you should know about your family.
We know who she's writing it for. It's Christopher, her son. And in case you missed the clues...
If she told me there was going to be so much climbing...
Edith gives the big reveal.
I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
So there it is. You can kind of see Edith's belly right there on her shadow. But now we all know she's having a baby. Christopher. So here we have Edith giving birth to Christopher, who we've seen before on the ferry.
This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
And here we are at Edith's grave, right next to her brother's, in that little spot. So this Christopher now has come back to the house. I guess it's his turn to inherit all this and learn the stories. So I'm hoping there's a sequel that includes the third floor. And Christopher, by the way, was mentioned by Ian Dallas in an interview. It's never brought up in the game, but it is her son's name, supposedly, and that's according to the creator. Who did this while his mom had passed away, which is probably the reason so many people are hit hard by these stories, especially when Edith gives birth and never gets to actually meet her son. It's a heartbreaker. The whole game's a heartbreaker. And the credits are great. I guess I'll keep talking through the credit. There's that lamp I want. And all little tidbits and trivia and images of items we've seen in the game. And of course, all these kids who grew up to work on the game. It's Milton's handwriting. There's the boat from Unfinished Swan. Lewis's hooker. Milton's paints. Now, when you're up in the room with Gus and Gregory and Dawn, where 3 of them have their little cots. The street light switch is on the wall. Both Gus and Gregory are switched off, but Dawn is switched on. And I guess that indicates that at the time Dawn was still alive. But at this point, all 3 switches are off. So Dawn has passed. Neat little details like that I really think are what make this game interesting to me and have caused me to play through it many, many times. And usually I see something I've missed. The details are rich, varied. There's that frog. And of course Edith had stars and little origamis hanging in her room. There's Barbara's ugly story and her crutch. Or is it Rick's crutch? A little ant farm and that little blue-purple thing. I have no idea what it is. Level? I guess that's Sven's level. And now we have the faces of Molly and her little fantasy. And the shark she ends up being. And old Walter's cans of peaches. And some of the birds from Edie's room have escaped their cages. So that's it for this part. Obviously, Edith had her baby, but it killed her. At least, that's the theory. But what else would it be? I don't know how she knew, but she knew. Well, we're almost there. The music box. Another lock for the door. Bunch of thanks. Trick or treat, smell my feet. The Chinese restaurant that would deliver. And the fridge that we first see when we go into the house. 5 years of development by a relatively small staff. Amazing. Alrighty. Bye-bye, everybody.